It is a tradition that the incoming president of the South African Institute of Architects holds their inauguration in one of their buildings. In that spirit, we welcome you all here today to the Women's Jail Museum and Office Building at Constitution Hill. The contemporary architectural interventions are not only an important example of the work of Otten architects, they are also an offering on the role of architecture in a democratic South Africa. Built in 1909, the original structures are an example of Victorian English prison design. However, the women's jail is better known as a place where women anti-apartheid activists were unjustly imprisoned. Through this project, the building was transformed from a place of oppression and brutality to a place of healing, where human dignity is both defended and upheld, housing a living museum, the Commission on Gender Equality, and other human rights commissions. The architectural interventions seek to convey the cultural significance of this place and provide an eloquent platform for the voices of those who in previous decades were silenced. Ex-prisoners tell of how they were not allowed to move through the central atrium space, their movement confined to a never-ending polishing of the floors on bare knees or ambulation in the margins. Just as the building literally jumps over the wall, symbolizing new freedoms, our introductory Preparing the Atrium video suggests a transformation, an interweaving of paths through the central space, claiming the space. Architecture becomes a prompt for renewal, part of the imagining of a different future.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, architects.
My name is Mtembeni Mkize. I'm the new Chief Executive Officer of the South African Institute of Architects, known as SAIA. It is my privilege to speak at the inauguration of Kate Otten as the new SAIA president in the year 2020. I'm looking forward to serve as SAIA CEO under the leadership of President Kate Otten. I wish her all the best in her term. There is no doubt that President Kate Otten brings in a different leadership contribution for the benefit of all SAIA membership. In my term in office, I'll be working with our president in ensuring that SAIA members benefit from good constitution, bylaws, advocacy instruments, professional development programs, practice support, breaking news, industry publications, alliances, marketing, and numerous other benefits. SAIA thrives only when voluntary members contribute their time and resources, building a strong national organization, strong regional institutes, and strong members for the purpose of minimizing the negative effects in our profession. We need to strengthen the unifying force that was created and carried through this organization over the years. Our impact is felt when our organization wrestles with the dilemmas that face the nation, particularly as they affect our profession. There is strength in numbers. Therefore, by increasing the number of people in the organization, we add strength to the voice, which we can speak against apathy, intolerance, ignorance, against abuse of national environment and resources, and for the unempowered, the marginalized, and the disenfranchised. By building a strong organization, we develop a showcase for the excellence, creativity, which have been ignored for so long. Through our publications and conferences, we are able to inform the world that the profession of architects has the talent and capabilities to perform in design and construction with any other groups. Our goals are to increase the level of participation in the social, political, economic, and other areas for the benefits of affordable citizens of this nation and to tear down the barriers that exist. As architects, we are professionally responsible for protecting the health, the safety, and the welfare of the public. Architects, as members of South African Institute of Architects, are dedicated to providing quality design, safeguarding the public, and improving our built environment. If you are eligible and have not yet decided to be a SAIA member, we encourage you that you take a decision and belong to a professional organization of over 2,600 colleagues in South Africa, providing valuable resources for building a career in the practice and having a powerful collective voice to advocate for the profession nationwide. SAIA membership is an essential investment in your own future at every stage of your career. The designation of SAIA following the name of an architect means that he or she is a fully registered architect who upholds the highest standard of ethics and professional practice. This designation is recognized throughout the world as the highest quality of architectural professionalism. By becoming a SAIA member, you are investing in your future and helping to elevate and protect and enhance your profession. You join with other registered architects, emerging professionals, and allied partners who are advancing the value of their services and who are expressing the commitment to excellence in design and livability of our communities. At SAIA, we have a very strong objective to create and maintain relationships with other professionals and technicians whose work affect the physical and social environment of our people. We aim to be an effective force of motivation and to inspire our young professionals who are in architecture, and will continue to work closely with local, provincial, and national governments on ensuring that we are affecting our physical environment and neighborhoods in a good way to make their lives better. President Kate Otten, I wish you all the best in your term at SAIA. I thank you.
Thank you, Leander. Good evening and welcome. Please allow me a little time to thank some important people. I don't often get the chance. Firstly, a big thank you to Leander. You have been an incredible leader and are quite an act to follow. It gives me strength to know that I can rely on you to continue to be on board as we steer the SAIA ship through uncertain waters. Thank you to the SAIA executive and staff. Our office bearers know how hard you work. And a warm welcome to our new CEO, Ntembeni Mkhize, who has, even in the short time he has been in office, proved himself to be supportive, thoughtful, and knowledgeable. And then many thanks to the people who may be behind the scenes to you all, but without whom I truly would not be here. Paris, my partner, an exceptional human being whose support, both unseen and overt, gives me space to be me. Paloma, our daughter, beaming in from the Netherlands, the light of my life. Annie, who keeps our house a sanctuary and helped raise Paloma. Jay, my sister, beaming in from London. She was the one who told me to do architecture. And a special thanks to my office, Selma, Julan, Nicolette, and Ben. Sounds like a small team, but they're a powerhouse when they get going. Thank you for being there. And a special thanks to Philippa for stepping up to MC, big debate on how you say that, to the remarkable Hugh Fraser and Zahir Kassim, and to Penny Sebe in the hard work in the background. The COVID pandemic has highlighted a number of already existing crises in our world that are long overdue our attention. It has brought into sharp focus how deeply unequal our society is, and it has plunged already marginalized communities further into poverty and despair. This global crisis has also made us more acutely aware of the urgent need to address climate change in a very real way if we are to survive as a species. We cannot afford more greenwashing if we want to win that battle. The isolation and uncertainty that has come with the pandemic has had a profound effect on young people who are trying to find their way in a chaotic world with digital access, but no tangible human connectivity. But we could see this crisis as an opportunity for us as architects, an opportunity to be at the forefront of creative thinking, to claim our position as creative visionaries, and step up to our responsibility to society, to design responsive, inclusive, and just spaces. As architectural communities, as SAIA, we can use this uncertainty as an opportunity to transform our profession, to host deeper conversations concerning transformation, climate justice, and more. We need to be visionary and creative leaders. We need to imagine and describe a future in such uncertain times. But how do we do this? Knowing that leadership is not a singular act, that it cannot be undertaken alone, I would like to recognize the many people who have come together and entrusted me with this honor and made it possible. Some of you are in this audience, others have entrusted us to be here. To all of you, thank you. I hope my presidency will be one that speaks to a collective, inclusive, collegiate architectural community where we can support and inspire each other. My hope is to create a SAIA that encourages collaboration and recognizes the richness of diversity and the value of many voices. To start this collective conversation, I have invited a number of colleagues, both local and from the diaspora, to join me in speaking with many voices about our profession, to share their ideas about how we as architects might address these many challenges and opportunities we are presented with. And so too to a collection of video clips.
Kate, it is a great honor to congratulate you as the new SAIA president, and having served with you the last 2 years, I'm very confident that you're going to take SAIA to the next level. What are my hopes? I know how passionate you are about young professionals and how we should be supporting them, particularly young women, to whom we are a role model. But not only to them, we are a role model to all of us. The world is facing a new challenge coming with COVID-19, and we've seen how devastating this has been, particularly to vulnerable communities. We know the impact of bad design on bad neighborhoods, and architects are going to have to step up and actually provide leadership. And I think as leaders of the Global South, we have to be part of the conversation about better communities, better design, better cities. And I think with leadership like you, we're an opportunity to engage on those discussions and take the discussion further. I wish you all the best, and I know that you'll do the best you can.
Hello everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to you all from New York. I'm delighted to be taking part in tonight's event, which gives me the opportunity to say thank you to Leander on the one hand, and welcome to Kate on the other. Inaugurations are special events, but tonight's ceremony I think is more special than most. Assuming the role of SAIA president in a normal year is a huge honour. To be doing so in 2020, in the middle of a global pandemic, and against the backdrop of global protests, is another thing altogether. Just over a week ago, when Kate emailed me to ask me to contribute something short and hopefully sweet to tonight's film, her email contained several key words: transformation, inclusivity, climate and justice, words that have gone viral in the past 6 months. If you type in the word inclusivity into Google, you'll get roughly 10 million results. The word climate brings in 818 million, and diversity over 1 billion. So these are issues that are clearly on everyone's minds. But her email also contained the words reclaim, forefront, support and inspire, which point to a rather different kind of crisis, specific to architects and to our dwindling influence in the issues that matter now. In that same email, she asked the question, how can we, as architectural communities, use this uncertainty as an opportunity to transform our profession? For me, the answer lies in our training. We are generalists, not specialists. Our knowledge base is broad and lateral, not specific and deep. Our imaginations are our most valuable tools, not CAD or BIM. Architects design buildings, yes, but buildings or groups of buildings also design us. And every new presidency is an act of hope, usually for a better future, and every new leader is expected to come with a manifesto for change against which they will be measured. But 2 things stand out for me as lessons of the past 6 months. 1, that we're not very good at predicting the future, and 2, now more than ever, leadership matters. Evolutionary science tells us that our brains are programmed to narrow focus in the face of threat, which seems to have been a survival mechanism designed for self-protection. But leaders do not have the luxury of thinking only about the self. By definition, leaders must think of the whole, of the herd. They have to respond to immediate challenges, but also leave room to think about what is likely to happen next. And to do so requires a change of focus. Your lens has to open up to take in not just the immediate ground, but the ground in front of that, and at the same time keep the background in mind. It's difficult and it's challenging, but it is also the way most architects are trained. To think through a situation is to think in section. To think from above and below is to think in plan. And to imagine something in the mind's eye, then build it, is how buildings are made. And it may well be how the future is made, by imagining it first, and then working together to build it. As someone who has built many, many buildings, who has spent a lifetime envisioning spaces in the mind's eye, and then translating her vision into reality, an architect's architect, you might say, Kate Otten comes with exactly the right tools for these times. Imagine, lead, build. This is not a presidency that can be reduced to a single strap line or a soundbite. Now, more than at any other time I can think of, leadership really matters. As Stephen Covey put it, leadership is a choice, not a position.
We find ourselves in a place in time where we can expect that operating in a state of flux will have to be the norm. The pandemic has revealed a parallel crisis in the physical space of where people live, and also reveal that architects are not at the forefront of thinking. In fact, we are lagging behind other professionals, like social anthropologists or writers, etc., in recognizing, examining, researching, and understanding our socio-spatial landscape and production of space. This directly influences how we practice. We cannot reclaim a position which is fraught with the language of colonialism and patriarchy. We have the skills to leverage as solutionist thinkers, but this is a place of privilege, and we need to critically engage with our so-called visionary status that was trained and educated to be right all the time. This is problematic and dangerous. In a severely restricted economic climate, we will have to adapt even faster and look for other modes and means of production of space. With this context, therefore, SAIA's mandate should include greater visibility, action, transparency, accountability, and greater public engagement, thus shifting the perception of its place and value to the architectural profession.
My message for the Institute is to use the severity of these times as a basis for re-evaluating the profession, to use this platform to open networks of public and private procurement that allows for better and transparent matches between client and architect, that allows Black-owned practices, empowerment practices, women-owned practices, small practices, and emerging practices work opportunities in order to establish themselves and give voice and decision-making roles that significantly and urgently diversifies the hands that currently think and draw our cities. To disrobe the bureaucratic and to make easy, accessible, meaningful, and free continued professional development programs. To offer new graduates, especially women graduates and graduates of color and Black women graduates, platforms to voice their thinking and to build their careers. To offer platforms and promote architectural thinking and projects that meaningfully engage social justice and the built environment.
The future should be more female, the future should be more diverse, the future should be more Black, the future should be more brown, the future should be more indigenous, the future should be more African, the future should be more ours, the future needs to be different.
I think one of the things that we can do as architects or as creative people is to try and start instilling within ourselves, particularly at architectural schools, a culture where we move beyond the speciality of architecture, a culture where we understand that as architects, we're part of a bigger ecosystem. We're part of an ecosystem that includes builders, that includes scientists, that includes biologists, that includes lawyers. Because when you think of yourself as part of an ecosystem, you can actually do a lot more than just be limited by the specifics of your speciality. And I think one of the ways in which architectural schools could start to do that is we need to have broader conversations beyond the school. It cannot just be about the studio anymore. It cannot be about the design project. It has to be something that has an impact beyond the school as we see it. It has to be something that has an impact beyond how we understand the curriculum. An example is, for very long now, architectural students haven't engaged in competitions that move beyond the built environment. We need to have something that allows for us to be part of a bigger ecosystem.
What if SAIA had a cheeky shaking up? What if SAIA extended its platform to include voices which are younger, voices of people from all genders, and voices of people of color? What if SAIA committed to ask much better questions?
Say, as architects, of course, we have so many challenges that we're facing, but one of the most important one that I feel as African architects we have to deal with is how we continue to advocate for our profession, but at the same time, how do we inspire, how do we educate, and how do we mentor young professional architects into the profession and the practice of architecture. Through collaboration is how we're going to do this, and I do hope that through your presidency we'll be able to collaborate on this particular front to advocate and to bring in as many voices so that we, at the end of the day, have a very colorful architectural profession in Africa.
An inspired, healthy, and transformed architectural profession will include practices and institutions that contain our diversity: gender, race, class, culture, ethnicity, belief, religion, age, status, ability, ideology. New creative spaces, rich, deep, multi-layered, expressive, complex, emotional. Understanding, supporting each other, working together. Collaboration, teamwork, and horizontal, non-hierarchical structures. Acting in a socially responsible and ethical manner. Being brave, challenging, and occupying all spaces.
We live in an unequal society, and this pandemic has brought this harsh reality into sharp focus. The veil has dropped. If SAIA wants to build on its relevancy, we need to start challenging the status quo. SAIA needs to become more representative and inclusive and create a platform for those who have been marginalized before to be included in its future endeavors. Those that include Black practices, female practices, the emerging young Black professional, and the youth. We need to actively engage these marginalized constituents in order to create direct access to work, to appoint Black professionals into leadership roles, to encourage the youth to raise their concerns and give them a platform to showcase their work. SAIA should actively engage special practitioners to work in areas where our skills are needed the most, so that we might, in the future, endeavor to create more equitable cities.
Good evening, Kate. I'm excited to have a female president for the South African Institute of Architects, particularly now at this time when the world is in need of healing and humanity is feeling very fragile. I have no doubt that you will bring a sensitivity to the profession that puts the quality of design at the center of everything that we do as architects. In addition, I believe you are well placed through your experience to bring in a sense of transformation to the profession, particularly post-COVID. I think you will be instrumental in creating space for new, young, Black and female voices. In addition, I think you have the ability to inspire the public to be aware of and participate more in the built environment. Finally, I think you will be one of the biggest advocates advocating for a more equitable use of space as a resource in these days and times. Congratulations.
As architects, we need to seize this opportunity to reinstate the importance of design, not as a nice to have, but as an essential component of creating responsive and appropriate built environments. Our special skill is to translate issues and ideas into built form through the design process. Kate, I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with you on a number of architectural competitions and projects, and I've always admired your passion for your profession, your enthusiasm for each project that you take on, and of course your fabulous sense of humour.
Leading the Institute during the toughest period of our democracy requires compassion, inventiveness, and guile, all of which, Kate Otten, you possess in abundance. Quality leaders are those that embrace periods that are hard and never when they're easy. We all have to view this period as a period of opportunity and not despair. So dig deep, take up our collective struggles, and continue to build this organization that will never, ever ignore the triple scourge of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. To begin, President Kate, take a knee as Black Lives Matter.
Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for the invitation to say a few words on your inauguration as the president of the South African Institute for Architects. People often say that if you want to get a job done properly, you have to send a woman in to do it. And I can't imagine anybody better than you steering this colossal ship into the future. As you know, we live in very interesting times that require radical and creative thinking. And I can't imagine anybody better equipped than you, a paragon of feminist praxis, to lead us into the future. So all I have to say is well done, congratulations. I'm super proud of you and I'll be cheering for you endlessly.
My message is actually a very simple one, which is about generosity. The collective architectural voice reaches all segments of civil society. And I think that during this time of immense uncertainty in our profession, our country, and on our planet, I think it's important that we as architects take a moment to remind ourselves not only of what we do, why we do it, how we do it, or even for whom, but also quite simply that we do it together. The freedom of choice has been dramatically altered, even removed from many of our decision-making processes in recent months. In many instances, modes of production have slowed and stretched as relationships have distanced. But as we spend this time reflecting, evaluating, and perhaps even reinventing our professional selves, the one thing that we ought not lose sight of is a commitment to building culture, not only physically as a product of our discipline, but now, perhaps more importantly than ever, within our discipline.
Greetings from Cabo Verde. Congratulations, Kate and your team. Thank you for inviting me to participate. It is difficult to manifest certitude in these unprecedented times, yet it is fundamental that we show up and speak our truths. As architects, we thrive in being asked to take hold of possible futures through a process of ideation, materializing visions into certainties. But what are certainties today? Only that every statement may be temporary, fleeting, but that the foundations and pillars are still necessary metaphors for us to uphold even uncertainties. Today, as you embark on this journey, I want to throw into your basket a few considerations in the form of wishes. I wish for your presidency to be sustained by meaningful collaborations, for collaboration to be a fundamental value to engender relevance, close connectedness to your context and your colleagues. I wish for you to make justice the foundation, the pillars, the viewports and entry points of all your actions. There's no meaning in our profession without justice. I wish you, your team, your community of professionals, your interlocutors and collaborators a transformative journey.
Hi everyone. Kate, going back to the 80s as a young intern in my office, I clearly remember you as a gifted and passionate communicator who always collaborated well with the co-workers and yet was never afraid to irritate her peers. As you've been handed the baton, the profession is at a crossroads. New realities are emerging, norms of personal space are changing, some building types are shrinking, new narratives are starting to evolve. Rethinking of the educational space, a substantial shift of design dealing with the pandemic, systematic inequality, climate change, digital revolution, and housing crisis. We are going to have to change our addiction to business as usual and loosen our grips on old habits. Instead of scrambling to remain relevant, is this not a revolutionary moment in which we are being challenged to rethink everything, approaching projects not just as problems to be solved in steel, concrete, and glass? Our current challenges need a wider and a more holistic solution, an architecture that has to be sustainable, flexible, adaptive, responsive, and local without being parochial. We need to radically change to a true service profession.
And what I'm looking forward to is seeing your energy and creativity and passion for the profession to come through and make a difference in the lives of many South Africans. We live in a particular time where the role of architecture has somewhat misunderstood by both government and by clients. And I think we live in a time where our understanding of the importance of the built environment in terms of improving the quality of life is truly underestimated. So I look forward to supporting you in your work, not only to make the lives of architects better, increasing the potential for better livelihoods, but also that we can have a much bigger impact in terms of the country and the continent, in terms of what architecture can offer from a spatial perspective as well as economic development and essentially creating a more equal society.
We'd like, as GIFA and as president of GIFA, I'd like to congratulate President Otten, Architect Otten, on her election and inauguration. We pledge all our support for our most august member, which you are, to this year, and all of us resources are also available to you. We know you're going to be a fantastic president.
Having grown up in a segregated city, I was very aware of the huge physical barriers that were created through apartheid planning. This left a huge mark on me and informed the way I practice. As architects, we have the power to start changing the landscapes of our cities, and we have the power to start creating social and spatial justice through architecture. My hope for Kate during her presidency is that she would create the platform for new, young, fresh ideas to be heard and embraced.
Kate, the universe has conspired. It seems that COVID has presented us with an opportunity. As I see it, it has certainly rattled our cages. I think these are extraordinary times, and I think there's great opportunity, and my observation is that it's extraordinary that our professional body has now invited you to be the head prefect at a time like this, because I think you really are the one person I know that has the skills to embrace a new path, new directions, new visions, new ideologies, creating new narratives. I think you're going to be an inspiration.
To some extent, I think creativity thrives in unpredictable and uncertain situations. Where the future is not known, it allows us to speculate towards a more indeterminate space and time. It forefronts design challenges and makes them more urgent. Issues that have always been around become much more relevant. I also think that it's great that more than ever conversation has been so prevalent and accessible online. The world has become a bit closer in terms of being a part of global conversations. And as practitioners, we need to be questioning, how can architecture be made more culturally relevant and inclusive of alternative narratives and forms? Where is architecture heading in terms of serving society? And how can we learn from our context in the way we practice? So I think it's exciting that SAIA is heading in a new direction with Kate at its lead. I can only imagine that the future holds more representation and inclusivity in the profession, and much more support for outlier architects, young architects, females, architects of color, and many others. I think this will be the beginning of creating new conversations that forefronts inequalities and pushes practitioners to collaborate and be bold in our work. So congratulations to Kate, and wishing you an inspirational and groundbreaking term as president of SAIA.
Dear Kate, I'm shooting this video from the deep heart of Côte d'Ivoire in the jungle, and really wanting to share with you the fact that I think that we need to go back in these very uncertain times to things that are much more simple. We need to unlearn the global and start reconnect with the local. And as architects, I think that nobody better than us can rethink the tomorrows of this planet. And the tomorrows of this planet has to go through architecture. Good luck in your endeavor, and of course, I will always be part of the usual suspects. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's actually doing that. That's why we put you all on mic.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for that. I'd like to introduce Kate to say a few more words after that beautiful clip. Kate?
So thank you, everybody who participated in that clip. We had many, and some that were too long to include, or some that arrived too long to include. But really just, I suppose, inspirational, I think, for all of us, and to hear the many voices. And something that I hope to continue to do, so that we are always in a participation. Thank you.
On behalf of SAIA, I would like to extend thanks to everyone that joined us today for this virtual event, and hope that you have enjoyed it. I would also like to thank all the people that contributed in various ways to the making of the videos, putting this event together in a somewhat unprecedented form. Thank you very much. Again, thank you very, very much to all the dignitaries, institutions, organizations, associations, architects, ladies and gentlemen who have come to join us in the celebration of the inauguration of Kate Otten as the 2020 SAIA president. This brings us to the end of the event. However, should you wish to review or share this event, the proceedings of the event have been recorded and they'll be made available on various social media platforms, including YouTube. Have a great weekend. I'm being a bit presumptuous. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your night. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Ruben, congratulations. All the best to everyone.
Jerusalem,
Congratulations, Ruben. All the best. Congratulations to all the outgoing people.